I recently did a video generally on sight reading, and this one I want to focus on the idea about sight reading on guitar and how that's different than it might be for other instruments. Since some guitarists want to be cool with their glasses, so I'll put this on for a while, and so you don't get too tired of me if you watch more than one video. Your variety is important, and as I mentioned in the other video, you want to do different things, and especially if you're doing videos, you want to kind of, spice up the videos. So throw on the sunglasses or put on the Groucho Marx. I really wish I had the Groucho Marx. There's a Three Stooges one where they're wearing the flat hat for the professor, and I don't have one of those, so I have to suffer with this. Okay, sight reading on guitar is harder than sight reading on piano, so some people have said, and one reason is that the layout of the instrument is more complex. One thing, you have several places to play the same note, and you don't have the white and the black key bifurcation simplicity, and so you have to figure out what hand position to play at, and you got to process that as you're sight reading the music along with other things. So pianists of course have other difficulties. They're reading multiple clefs, but there's guitar music that's polyphonic and counterpunctal, and there are people that sight read Bach fugues quite well. I can't quite read three-point counterpoint's not as easy for me. Two-point counterpoint seems to be a little bit easier, and it depends on the style of music. So, if you want to, if you're doing Giuliani or Carulli classical guitar music, a lot of arpeggiated chords, and once you know the chord patterns, and you become familiar with those, your sight reading is going to improve for that type of music. Yes, sight reading can be improved with skill, and I hope you watch some of my guitar videos on how I sight read, and forgive yourself the errors, because there are going to be errors with sight reading perhaps at any level. Now, in the story of Julian Bream and John Williams and what they have to say about sight reading, both of them have claimed that they are excellent sight readers. In fact, Julian Bream said he's a better sight reader than he is at playing, which is an interesting comment for him to make. I'm not comparing myself to the greats. I'm just saying they say interesting things. But on top of that, both Julian and Bream and John Williams made the comment that while they sight read well, they don't sight read as good as orchestral musicians, and pianists. That most guitarists are not great sight readers, and so that's partly inspired me to get into the world of teaching what I know about sight reading and how you might be able to improve, and part of it's working through, because everyone can stand some improvement. But guitar has polyphonic issues, as does piano, so sight reading, like a flute or a saxophone, one note kind of instrument, is easier in that respect. You don't have to process multiple melody lines and things like that, and arpeggiated and chords and all that, but instead you have to worry about rhythms and being perfect with expression, and some people sight read quite well with perfect expression or seemingly perfect, and although they no doubt always want to improve, and so it depends on who you are. Guitar is what I'm focusing on here. The best I can say about practicing sight reading or learning to sight read well, is the more you practice, the more you're going to get better at it, and you can become familiar with the patterns that are there. And the more you stick with a particular style, like say Italian 18th century, as some of the videos I've done are heavily weighted in that area, and they have in common a lot of, as I say, arpeggiated chords and things like that. So the patterns are relatively there, and you don't have to concentrate as much as you do on other aspects of the music. I like to try to put expression into, even when I'm sight reading. First glance. Many of my videos are first glance sight read, so you can get there if you're not there already, or if you're not better. And hopefully, even for the people that are better, I hope I say something that has some value to you. Now, for the beginners in sight reading, the key a key is to learn to look ahead. And you have to spend time processing. The more complex the music, the farther ahead you should be looking. 1 or 2 measures. You know, you're putting that processed information into short-term memory, and your brain is kind of figuring out how you're going to do it at the same time you're reading. And then when the music catches up with you, you have to deliver the performance out of short-term memory. Then you can forget it. So short-term memory is a good thing to have. If you don't have that, you're not going to be very good at sight reading. So the point I'm making is look ahead. And it's, you know, same thing with reading, by the way. You get a book out and you read. You want to read well in public. You know, you got to look ahead at the words. You don't want to look at each word, as you know, you won't read as well. So sight reading is about familiarity with the music. It's about processing, looking ahead. It's about practice and motivation, as I mentioned my working with ensemble motivated me to develop better instincts in sight reading and try to add a little expression as I'm going. So definitely I recommend doing ensemble work. Also watching videos of people sight reading. That's why I'm putting some videos on the internet, because I think you can learn things from watching somebody work through errors, how to avoid errors, how to compensate for them and move on. You know, you don't want to necessarily just stop the music and say, whoops, I played the wrong note, I got to start over, you know, and because there's a goal to be perfect. And certainly, but even the pros want to explore new music, so the more you play, the better off you are. There's an awful lot of music out there that can be sight read. So perhaps you're tired of the glasses now. So anyway, I intend to do more videos on this subject, and I have been talking for 6 minutes now, so that's a good length for this video, and hopefully I've inspired somebody to learn something about sight reading, because it's an important skill. And, you know, and we concentrate so much on the final performance and say, well, you know, you've got to be polished and you know, learn to wear the right clothes and do the little, you know, expressive nuance in a certain part of a music. And so we focus on the tail end of the skill level. But I'm working on the beginning. The beginning's important too. So that's all I have to say for this video, and hopefully I've been helpful to folks. Thanks, bye.